Alright, Schlockmeisters fans, we're gonna watch a oddity here called Soul Survivor with William Shatner. Let's check it out. Made for television. The movie starts in the desert where we see an abandoned plane. From Kiss?
All right, let's get started, Tony.
The crew from that plane.
Yes, Captain. Right, Captain. Is that all right, Captain? Yes, sir.
Knock it off. We made ourselves an agreement.
We voted. Until we're found, baseball 3 times a day. You agreed.
I didn't know it was going to go on for 17 years.
Mac, boy, you ain't gonna walk out of here. We learned the first years, no matter how far, how long you walk. Just keep on going around in circles and you end up right back here.
Then out of nowhere, a plane flies overhead. Have they been discovered?
It's odd. That dry bed lake isn't on any of our charts.
Oh, there's not much of interest on this plateau to anyone.
Hey, it will be now.
No!
I'll be back. Maybe not them, but others. I can feel it in my bones. That's pretty.
But there's one missing member from this crew, a 6th person who jumped out. Hamner.
Just like it was before I jumped. You should have stayed with us.
That plane came down 700 miles from where it was reported lost.
Look, Dad, if you want to bow out from this investigation, just give me the
There
word.
isn't time to get anybody else.
Captain
Some
Kirk
of the
himself.
five families waiting 17 years for some kind of answer.
All right, but do yourself a favor.
Russ,
They're going to send a crew to investigate it, including Hamner himself,
I think maybe you better fly out with these guys.
the alleged only
In many
survivor.
cases, it's proved valuable for surviving crew members to assist the investigating team.
My plane. We'll soon find out.
So they arrive on site. Our crew is standing at attention, awaiting their arrival. But they can't see the
I wish you
crew.
could talk.
You see, they're dead. They're ghosts.
We're really dead.
257.
That was the number of the home run?
Don't much look like him.
He's old.
But then get a flashback to the night they got shot down.
Coming to you, Elmo. 5 o'clock.
They took damage, and Hamner bailed on his crew.
According to the record, General, this plane and a crew were reported as missing in action after a night jump over the Mediterranean, with only one survivor.
No wonder they weren't looking for us.
And at that point, you jumped.
Yes,
The pilot gave the order to abandon.
that is correct.
That's a lie. You said nobody was...
We gotta find that boat.
What for?
Well, they're ready to confirm that we jumped with Hamner. We need something to prove that we came down in this desert.
You're not supposed
So 2 of them go off to look for the rubber life raft.
Yeah, we've been dead for 17 years, and there they are picking over our plane as though it were more important than we are.
Examination suggests the crew abandoned over water.
Well, of course they did. The water survival equipment is missing from the plane. All the desert survival gear is still in the plane. Present over
But Vince Edwards
1,000
doesn't believe it.
Lost that weight extends the range considerably.
For all we know, 5 of the 6 were still in that plane.
That has the ring of an accusation.
It was meant as a speculation.
Just leave me out of it.
Like you said, it's ancient history. No question of security, nothing life and death. Nobody cares.
I care. I know Hamner's lying.
Hamner didn't shoot down that aircraft. He's got an excellent record. What do you want?
There are all kinds of courage, General. Sometimes it takes a special brand to admit that you're less than you'd hoped you'd be.
Where did you learn?
On the ground, flying a desk at the Pentagon.
Finds a harmonic on the ground, leads him to believe that, yes, there were people here at one point. They didn't crash or fall into the water over the Mediterranean.
Really want to dig up your own?
I want my dog tags. That's proof. Proof positive.
Count me out.
Tony, every time we tried anything, we kept coming back. Just like all the times we tried to walk out of this place. We never got more than a mile or two away. We couldn't get to the boat.
They're leaving tomorrow.
I made it. They didn't. I don't know them a thing. They were your crew. 5 Boy Scouts. Trying to save that hunk of junk.
Well, the drunken Hammer starts to see visions of his crew. Or is he seeing the ghosts?
I tried to save you.
You killed us!
Let me up.
How do you balance out 5 lives? 5 lives, 5 futures knocked out.
I couldn't help it.
He gets into a Jeep, drives away, they follow him, leads them right to the rubber raft.
The rubber boat.
You plotted a 42-mile-an-hour tailwind. You didn't tell the pilot about it before you jumped.
I might as well have murdered them.
Now it's time to search for the bodies.
Gone 150. That have headed for the coast. So we start searching in here.
This is home.
They're going to put me in a sack! Tony! I got you, kid.
And then they disappear. All but him.
Can you read it?
First day. Brandy hurt bad. Spent cold night on sand. Very little water. Tony to try to get to plane for supplies, water.
The one body they could not find, though, was Tony's. So he's the last ghost standing. Eternity alone. All right, let's talk about Soul Survivor. This is a movie that I acquired maybe about 20 years ago. This was a really sought-after made-for-television film. Those in the bootleg community really wanted to find this, so I tracked one down myself and got a hold of it. It's a pretty darn good movie, actually. Very memorable if you probably saw it back in the day or saw it in reruns and stuff, late-night television. You won't forget it. It's basically the story of a plane that is found in, I guess, a Libyan desert. It's an American plane that has been missing in action for 17 years. Although I thought it was World War II, maybe it was Korea. I don't know, because I thought, well, I don't know if this is taking place in 1970 or if it's taking place in the early 60s. I just don't know. I think it was World War II, so it's probably taking place in the early 60s. But anyway, I digress. Plane was found. Now we see the crew of this plane on the ground. They've been there for 17 years. What we don't know at this point, or we're soon to find out though, is that they're ghosts. They're ghosts of the plane that crashed, and they're kind of living in limbo there, I guess, until they're discovered, perhaps. We see some flashbacks, and this one guy named Hamner. He, as the plane was getting shot at, he jumped out of the plane and evacuated, leaving the other 5 crewmen behind, and they eventually crashed in the desert and eventually succumbed to everything else, heat, lack of water, that sort of thing. But now they're ghosts. Well, the plane is eventually spotted, 17 years later. They send an Army Corps or Air Force Corps to investigate it and try to piece together what happened. They track down Hamner, who comes along with them to give his side of the story. He basically lies, tell them, because had he told them some of the things about the headwind and all things, it's possible they may have been able to get back to land. I don't know. But he feels some guilt that he basically left his guys to die, and he bailed out on them and somehow was able to survive. They're trying to find clues as to what happened. The ghosts are there and they can see everybody walking around. They just can't interact with them because they're dead and invisible. But they try to leave little clues here and there as to what happened. Eventually the truth comes out, and they are led to a rubber raft, which is out in the desert a few miles away. Now, the thing is, Hamner had told everybody, the investigators, that the rest of the crew had jumped out with the raft, which wouldn't make sense if the raft was found in the desert. So he says they jumped out over the water and they were presumed dead and were never found again. But the discovery of the raft confirms the lead investigator's opinion that Hamner was lying. And again, eventually the truth comes out and we hear about it. Now, then they are able to track down some of the bodies. They're actually buried in the desert through the winds of time have covered them up over the years. And as the bodies are being uncovered, the crew, the ghosts back at the plane, know what's happening and they're getting scared. Next thing you know, they all disappear, with the exception of one. There was one crew member, there was a diary left, who had gone back to search for something else. His body was not found. Thus, at the end of the movie, he's the last one left, the last ghost standing at the plane. He has to play baseball by himself. It's kind of a creepy, scary ending in that way, that he's just has to live the rest of his death in limbo out by that plane. So anyway, that is Soul Survivor. Pretty cool movie. Here you go. Now, I was watching, this is a DVD-R, and on the back of the box here it says CBS. I don't know if this is legit DVD or not. There's plenty of these DVDs available out there. Whether this was an officially made-on-demand title that CBS put out, I don't know. Now, apparently there's an actual PAL Blu-ray of this too, which is probably legit. I'm sure that's legit, but whether this one is or not, I just don't know. I don't know. I couldn't find any evidence that it was. Couldn't find any evidence against it either. But there's plenty of these out there. So if you're looking for one, you should track it down. So anyway, that's it. Soul Survivor. Cool movie. Very memorable. William Shatner's in this. Richard Basehart played Hamner. I'll leave a link to something down below if you're interested in getting it. And you should get it because it's a really cool flick. Check it out. Leave some comments. It's Soul Survivor. Watch it. Bye.